Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here at the Data and AI Summit, Healthcare and Life Sciences Industry Forum. We couldn't be more thrilled for you all joining us here today. This is our marquee event. It's getting us kicked off officially for the week, and I couldn't be more excited about the amazing presenters that you're going to hear from here today. I'm going to MC today's session. My name is Adam Crown. I lead industry marketing for healthcare and life sciences, and I'm going to set the stage for what you're going to hear throughout today thematically, and what I want you all to take away from today's sessions. First and foremost, I think it's really important to reflect on healthcare as an industry. It's incredibly personal. We're all going to be patients at some point in our lives interacting with the system, or we're caring for others who may need treatment. So I have 3 kids, and every time they're sick, I want to make sure that they have the right access to the right data at the right time, and for their care providers to be able to give them that antidote, if you will, so that they're as healthy as possible, as quick as possible. And that's really what we believe is the power of data intelligence, by bringing that data to action for all of these folks, from clinicians to frontline workers to those in the back office to family members who are helping support. And we're really excited about today's speakers because they're going to be talking about a few themes throughout today. First of all, it all starts with unifying all of your data in a single place. No matter the source, no matter the type, whether it's the electronic health record, whether it's unstructured data like images, audio, among other things. It means securing and governing that data holistically so that we can give access to the right data at the right time. It means infusing that with intelligence so we can bring that data intelligence directly to those who can take action on it, whether it's in the EHR, whether it's in an app, whether it's in a dashboard. And then, of course, it means sharing it across the ecosystem around that patient. So today's session for Healthcare and Life Sciences Industry Forum is going to have a few amazing presenters. We couldn't have done this without sponsors like Accenture. We wanted to thank them for helping sponsor our session today. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce who's going to be speaking. So first and foremost, we'll have Mike Sanky give the Databricks welcome address. Mike is our industry go-to-market leader across the globe for healthcare and life sciences. He's going to reflect on the last year, some of the really exciting things that we've seen in the industry, and of course give you a sneak peek for what to expect for this week. We're then going to have Jerry Thomas, who's the Vice President for IT, Data, and Analytics at Cencora, talk about their modernization strategy. Barb LATULIPPE, who is the Chief Data Officer of Takeda Pharmaceuticals, is going to be talking about the power of data intelligence and how she's thinking about that from an organization perspective. And last but certainly not least, we'll have Asheesh Chhabra, who's the Chief Data Officer from Merck, give us his perspective from his role as Chief Data Officer. So without further ado, let's get this officially kicked off. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mike Sanky, Industry Go-to-Market Leader for Healthcare and Life Sciences. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Don't applaud yet. I haven't done anything yet. We need a bigger space next year, I think. What do you guys think? Yeah. Watching this room fill up was like a Southwest Airlines flight where everyone was either on the aisle or the metaphorical window. So we do this every year in terms of recognition, where we give out an industry award. So I'd like to open our session today, fittingly, by recognizing our Healthcare and Life Sciences Customer Award winner. Maybe we can get a drum roll, special effects. Novo Nordisk. And I see them. You can stand up and wave. So Novo, congrats. Novo, they had a session earlier today. I don't know if anyone, show of hands, anyone catch their session? Oh, good. Wow. So you already know all about it, but I'll try to summarize it for you. I'll give you the Cliff Notes. So among other things, Novo developed the Found Data platform. This is a clinical data platform built on Databricks to unlock secondary use of data from its extensive portfolio of clinical trials. And most life sciences companies have this, particularly one with a history as long as Novo Nordisk, where there are decades of clinical trials and learnings that are, historically in many cases have just been locked away in data silos. And what Novo has done is said, we want to learn from this rich history of data that we have as an organization. And as the team shared in their presentation, what they've done is they've been able to democratize access to all these clinical data points, enabling their team, cross-disciplinary, of scientists, medical experts, and analysts to efficiently collaborate. And what this does is it supports better trial design. It supports faster identification of suitable patients for future trials, deeper insights into disease patterns, and also what they've done is they've deployed AI agents that act as co-scientists and effectively enhance all the human expertise that they have within their organization by rapidly analyzing these data. So congrats to the Novo team, and appreciate working with you. So Databricks has been incredibly privileged to play a role in so many different customer successes this year. So I also thought I'd briefly share a couple of my favorite stories that came out that you may have seen in the news. And this one is from Merck, and Merck will be speaking later today, more from an enterprise data standpoint. But what they did a couple of months ago is they announced TEDDY. And TEDDY is a family of foundation models that seeks to understand the biological mechanisms of disease. These models, using single-cell RNA sequencing data, are helping scientists to predict the impact of drug molecules on gene expression, unlocking tremendous insights for drug discovery. And we're seeing incredible scientific advancement in this field of network biology and really the intersection of chemistry and biology. So congrats to the team at Merck as well. And moving to the healthcare side, we're also seeing incredible applications of AI in healthcare. And Databricks partnered with the National Health Service in England on a very ambitious undertaking to scale a transformer model across more than 57 million individuals and 10 billion healthcare events. This model, called Foresight, predicts the probability of a next clinical event occurring for a patient based on their longitudinal history of past events and comorbid conditions. So if you think of large language models, effectively what they do is they predict the probability of the next word occurring in a sequence. So what the Foresight model does is it lays out all those longitudinal events and it predicts the probability of the next one occurring. So these types of tools, they're providing intelligence that help caregivers stay ahead of patient needs. Similarly, I don't know if we have anyone from the NHS here, but I'd like to congratulate the team for their innovative work. As we now support more than 1,000 customers across healthcare and life sciences globally, we have mapped the most critical outcomes that our customers are seeking to achieve with data and AI. So I called out a few of these iconic customer stories, but there are many more. And in healthcare, we often start with building a clinical and claim data foundation and helping organizations streamline operations. And for those of you taking photos, this is in fact, this is an interactive part of the session. So if you do have your phone, we can actually jump to this now, scan the QR code. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're focused on the right areas. So if you're from a healthcare organization, please scan the code, rank the areas most important to your organization so we can continue to invest in solutions and in the partner ecosystem to deliver the intelligence you need. And at a very high level, again, oftentimes where we start is building this data foundation in healthcare, helping organizations streamline operations. We do so through interoperability solutions, automating clinical note review, and efficiency programs, including things like fraud detection, revenue cycle management, and prior authorization. With that proper data foundation in place, we also spend a lot of time helping organizations seeking to improve provider quality and network management, with capabilities ranging from quality measures that support value-based care to network design and referrals. And last, and certainly not least, we spend a lot of time helping organizations deliver better patient outcomes and experiences, ranging from disease risk prediction and stratification to personalizing engagement and improving retention for patients and members. And if you want to learn more this week, this is a bit of a snapshot view of some of the incredible sessions that we have that are mapped against each set of these outcomes. So if you haven't finished the survey, you can continue to finish that. Again, we would love the intelligence from you, so we're investing in the right areas. And please check out these sessions this week and just use the week to network, explore, and learn from your colleagues. And not to leave out our friends in life sciences, so your chance with the QR code is now. In life sciences, the outcome maps are a little different. They more closely follow the value chain that we see in the industry. Starting with accelerating drug discovery, like our friends at Merck and the TEDDY family of models, as well as streamlining clinical development, like we heard from our friends at Novo Nordisk. And also critical to R&D productivity is establishing a fair data platform and making the data more findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. After R&D, we move into supply chain and manufacturing. And this year, we've been investing heavily in technology partnerships with Aviva for manufacturing, all the operational technology data from the PI system, as well as SAP for supply chain, and helping our customers both implement smart manufacturing capabilities and create end-to-end supply chain visibility and resiliency, particularly in the face of tariffs. And similarly, last but not least in life sciences, we spend a lot of time helping organizations improve commercial effectiveness through generating real-world evidence, delivering provider next best action through sales and medical science assistance, and personalizing patient engagement through digital health and patient assistance programs. And similarly, as we just saw for healthcare, we have so many incredible customer and partner sessions in store for you this week, and of course kicking off in just a few moments with Cencora, Takeda, and Merck. And before I turn it over to those amazing customer speakers, I want to close with a couple of important ecosystem announcements, because this is one of the biggest areas where we spend our time. It's in cultivating the partner ecosystem for industry. And not to be confused with our partner Aviva for the operational technology manufacturing data, we also launched a partnership with Veeva, who is likely the largest life sciences software company in the world that's focused exclusively on the life sciences industry. And they have solutions across nearly every outcome area that we just looked at, including clinical development, manufacturing and quality, and commercial effectiveness. They now support direct API integration with Databricks, delivering accurate, consistent, and timely data directly into the data intelligence platform. Their team is on site this week. I think they're somewhere in the room if you want to learn more. In addition to strengthening our ISV partner ecosystem, we also have been expanding our SI ecosystem, and specifically our brick builder solutions that align to our outcome maps. Scan the QR code or check out our website to learn more, and of course, many, if not all, of these partners are here with us this week. Last slide for me. So we started with the Novo Nordisk Customer Award, and we're ending the kickoff here with Partner Awards. Starting with our ISV and Data Partner of the Year, Komodo Health. Komodo is not only a Databricks customer, but more importantly for our ecosystem, they just launched with Delta Sharing this year to provide streamline access to their healthcare map and a real depth of insights across patient journeys and clinical encounters for both healthcare and life sciences organizations. We also would like to recognize our session sponsor, as Adam called out, and our Healthcare SI Partner of the Year, Accenture and Avanade, who have been supporting many of our largest healthcare customers with use cases ranging from massive platform modernizations to new Gen AI applications. And finally, our Life Sciences SI Partner of the Year, ZS Associates, who have developed and implemented a number of great accelerators on Databricks, including around omni-channel optimization for the life sciences industry. So on behalf of our entire Databricks team, we thank you for your partnership. We look forward to more great things together. Let's give these partners a round of applause. And let's keep the applause going for Jerry Thomas, VP of Data and Analytics, to share Cencora's modernization story.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, afternoon. I know it's been a very long day, so I do appreciate everyone that has taken the time to join this session with my fellow peers. And congratulations to Novo Nordisk. However, for my team, I apologize, your year-end goals have now changed. I want to see our name up there next year. Let's see. All right, so my name is Jerry Thomas. I lead our IT data and analytics enablement function at Cencora, managing our global data platforms, tools, master data management, IT data governance. And I imagine everyone in this room is potentially at different phases in their modernization journey. I was here 2.5, 3 years ago, starting exploration on a new vendor that could potentially be our foundation for data and analytics, but I imagine some of you are past that, and some fantastic stories that we'll hear today from Merck as an example. So I'd like to talk about our journey, our processes, some lessons learned, some wins. I will not be talking about the people part of modernization or ways of working, but I cannot stress the importance of having the right people on the bus. And so with that, I want to sincerely thank my team, my partners that have made this journey successful so far. And for those that are in the room today, thank you for supporting me. I sincerely appreciate it. So let's get into it. Before we get into data and analytics, I think it's very important for everyone to understand our purpose at Cencora and why insights are critically important to us. So we are united in our responsibility to create healthier futures. And we do that by building innovative solutions, products, and technologies that are reshaping how healthcare is delivered. And the reason why valuable insights are so important for us is it is literally a decision that comes down to life and death for our patients. So being able to have quality data and being able to make insights in near real time is critically important to us and closely tied to our purpose. This is a number slide. It's really just to talk about the scale at which we operate. Cencora, we have about 46,000 plus global employees, about 1,400 plus global locations. We work within 50 plus countries, top 10 Fortune 10, top 18 in our global list. And again, this is just to talk about the scale in terms of what we operate, and we have a lot of data. We are actually one of the biggest footprints of SAP in the world, so ensuring that we can ingest, cleanse, deliver insights to our clients is always top of mind for us. So why did we start this modernization journey? Well, we currently run on a legacy stack, Microsoft Azure Synapse, and around 6 to 7 years ago, when they created the data platform, the vendor landscape was very different. And typically, like we IT folks do, we threw technology at the problem without really thinking through the processes. And so let me just give you a very high-level example. Imagine a drawer, potentially in your house, that has many things in it. Charging cables, pens, pencils, tools, and you quickly need to find what you're looking for, and obviously that is a very difficult task, and you have the high probability of taking out the wrong thing that you're looking for. In a nutshell, this is what our legacy platform looks like today. Now, I actually had this drawer in my house. I was gonna put a picture on this slide. However, my wife knew that this session was gonna be recorded, and so she said, if I did show that, this would be the last presentation that I ever did, so we could just use our imagination. Now, obviously, that is a very simplistic description of what we were experiencing. Daily, we were having ingestion issues, not being able to react and adapt to our clients' needs quickly. And the world is changing, as I spoke about before, the importance of making near real-time decisions and being able to share that data cost-effectively. When we talk to our business partners, thematically, it was all the same. They were having these type of issues that were having real business impacts. And now I'm not going to read this slide, but the reason why I'm showing this to you is when we were starting the journey, it was very important to be able to talk about the business perspective and the why, rather than just the technical viewpoint. And we knew it was important as we were starting this modernization journey to anchor on guiding principles and desired outcomes as we were thinking about a future vendor. This would be our North Star through our RFP process and eventually as we selected a vendor. And we always came back to these and asked ourselves, are these things being met? So simple, being able to quickly self-service data for our clients, discoverable, data that is cataloged, quickly discoverable, flexible, a platform that can scale and continue to scale with the large data needs that we have, agile, where our business users can quickly spin up new use cases when they need to, and innovative, a platform that is emerging and can adapt to new technologies and capabilities. So what did our RFP phase look like? It took about 6 months, and I know that sounds like a really long time, But we did not want to downplay the importance of this step because as we started it, probably 2.5 years ago, the vendor landscape was much different. There were a lot more players. And we wanted to make sure we were bringing our data and analytics community and stakeholders along and bring in real use cases for the vendors to demonstrate their capabilities. Technically, we could have just picked that well-known data warehousing company 2 years ago, but we knew that what was important then could potentially be outdated tomorrow. Yes, our goal was to ensure that we had a stable platform, but more importantly was us being Gen AI ready, as well as a platform that could emerge with trending capabilities that could potentially come up next year. Now, can you all guess which stack we picked? Yes, so ultimately I am here because we picked the Databricks stack. Not only because we were confident that this was a good foundation for us to build on, but for the investments that they're making in and all the announcements that you're going to hear throughout the conference on Gen AI and future capabilities that we could leverage. Additionally, Cencora, we do a lot of M&As. So as you can imagine, globally, a lot of these companies also have their own data and analytics platforms. So being able or thinking about trying to copy all of that data into one platform, as most of you all know, that is very expensive. So being able to use things like Delta sharing capabilities has made that a lot easier. We are currently on Azure, but if we ever wanted to go to a multi-cloud solution, we could do that with Databricks. And the openness of Databricks doesn't necessarily tie us to one vendor forever. Sorry, Brendan. And lastly, but most important, is the data governance aspect. So with Unity Catalog, being able to catalog our data, have lineage with it, and make it easily discoverable is a game changer for us. Changing us from that unorganized drawer to something that is more discoverable. So going back to my earlier statement, we threw technology at the problem without really thinking about the processes. So modernizing for us wasn't just moving from one platform to another platform, but also rethinking how we were going to organize our data. So thanks to our business partners as well as our governance team, we started creating data products that would answer common business questions. Now, this is still in the process of modernization, but as you can see, this was also top of mind for us, that we have certified reusable data products, because in our legacy system, one team will create exactly the same data set another person has, and we don't know if they're even using the same type of calculation. So this is also a different way that we're doing things. So we have a technical solution. We started thinking through business processes, but in our modernization journey, we knew that it was very important for us to start gaining business advocacy immediately. So we started working with our manufacturing and replenishment operations team on a regulation called the Drug Supply Chain Security Act. Now, what this legislation enacted is in the United States, it enhances the security of the pharmaceutical supply chain. Aims to protect consumers from exposure to counterfeit, contaminated, or otherwise harmful drugs. It requires pharmaceutical manufacturers to serialize each unit, essentially assigning a unique identifier to each pharmacy packet. And it enables tracking and tracing throughout the pharmaceutical supply chain. Why did we choose this use case? One, it was a good demonstration of what this modern platform would be capable of. We are talking about a lot of data, terabytes of data. And as a distribution company, we process about 1 billion units per year. And from a data perspective, we have about 10 records per unit and 6 years of retention. And we're processing millions and millions of records daily. Additionally, we have to be able to combine that with other SAP data, as well as other sources of data for these insights to be meaningful. We need to be able to process all this data in near real time and generate insights in seconds and minutes. It was critically important, as we were talking about the requirements, that we had a governed and quality silver and gold layer. And lastly, being able to have a platform and a solution that would eventually enable our businesses to use Gen AI for more automation and quicker insights. Now, the successes of this now just did not happen overnight. There were many learnings and learning forward, and eventually we were able to meet all our partners' requirements. And what used to take their team few hours to minutes processing batch data, they are now able to do in seconds with near real-time data. We wanted to also keep the momentum going as we were building this business advocacy, so we started working with other groups, other teams as well, and they also started seeing the benefits of a modern platform, from faster processing, quicker access to data, and with the medallion architecture, different ways that we were building BI reports that were more efficient. Now, believe me, in 15 minutes, talking about data modernization does not do it justice, and it does seem like it was very easy. There were a lot of learnings. We are still 1 year away from completing our platform, a portion of our platform modernization, and we still have a lot to modernize in terms of data and analytics capabilities. I wanted to end with lessons learned, and for my IT folks in the room, remember that any type of effort like this, it is not an IT program or an IT project. It is very important that you have a business partner and stakeholders that you bring along with you, and be able to clearly state from a business perspective why modernization is important. Make sure you involve your business stakeholders and partners along through the journey. Iterate, given their feedback, and make sure that their voice is heard. Adopt an iterative and agile approach. I've been part of big bang migrations, and for me, they've rarely worked. My advice is to break these up into smaller chunks, because modernization can be very big. Focus on the low-hanging fruits. And chunk them into smaller pieces. Lastly, but always more importantly, don't underestimate data governance and quality. When we started our modernization journey, we said we would not lift and shift what we had in our legacy platform to a modern platform. We were not going to just bring the problem to a new, fancier thing. So we established clear data governance policies, roles, and processes early on. And now I will end with prioritize quick wins to build momentum and build that business advocacy, because word of mouth is your greatest asset. We were fortunate to be working with our manufacturing and replenishment operations team, and the successes there carried through and was very, quote unquote, easy to get other partners who wanted to start migrating to the new platform. So my advice to you would be, make sure you get business advocacy quickly. So that's everything that I have. I know we're not doing Q&A, but if you are interested in learning more, or if you do have questions, more than happy to meet with all of you, or some of you who are starting this journey afterwards, and you are more than happy to find me on LinkedIn as well, and happy to connect and have conversations. Thanks again, and take care.
Jerry, thank you so much for spending time walking us through that. Enjoyed the Cliff Notes, the 15-minute modernization story. That's fantastic. All right, our next presenter, I'm incredibly excited to announce Barb LATULIPPE. She's the Chief Data Officer for Takeda Pharmaceuticals. Barb, welcome to the stage.
Absolutely. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm happy to be here today. And I do want to say, thank you. I have a large amount of my team here today, as well as the business partners, right? So it is a village that makes it happen, and the teamwork makes the dream work. So just remember that, right? So very excited to be representing Takeda. We are actually coming up on our 244th year next week, which is amazing. So you can imagine the amount of data we have and the journey Takeda has been on. And we focus, internally our values focus on PTRB, patient, trust, reputation, and business, right? So that comes first, and serving our patients is really critical. As you've heard, real-time data is important. This has been a journey for Takeda through multiple acquisitions as well. And being able to elevate the organization for next-gen AI, who hasn't heard about agentic? That's all I hear about every day now is agentic. So I'm waiting for the new buzzword to come out. But there is no AI without data, right? And really the need to focus on good data management, good data practices, and data quality, as you heard, is really key. So really, I work with our different business partners. I am at an enterprise level. I've been here for 3 years. So again, it's a long haul, right? So there's no sprinting here. There's no easy button for any of us that are in the data and analytics. So we focused on platform stabilization when I joined, and I'll go into that journey a little bit. Now we have big, bold ambitions to have data agents everywhere. Right? So we're doing a lot of work already on this. And so we've looked at the Databricks platform, and our guiding principle is unifying data in one location. That is very key for us, as well as making sure that it is also more easily governed. We talk about gold, silver, bronze. We're doing the same thing. We have 22 domains, so we have a domain-first strategy to drive more accountability around data quality, data ownership, which also comes under our remit. And if you're a highly federated or decentralized company, that Takeda is, that's even more of a challenge, right? Because the business wants to go fast. We are here to partner with the business and democratize data, and we're using a data marketplace. So we're very passionate about making data available to the right users at the right time for the right purpose. I'd say one of the bigger challenges you're seeing today, certainly with AI, is you're now having more scrutiny under privacy and ethics, as well as ethical use and responsible AI. So it now means my job is very focused on working with a privacy officer and the head of ethics and compliance. So when we look at strategy on a page, it is information at your fingertips, and using Databricks helps us achieve that, right? We are creating enterprise data products, so that's, I think, a common theme you'll see, because we are serving quite a few, over 300 data warehouses that are consuming data. So we're here to make sure that we can make that data accessible. Improving data searching and data reusability is key for any company that is focused on cost as well. So that's very key to us as being cost effective. Then we're also having data quality and trust. Then we're also accelerating innovation. We created the concept of AI labs. So we bring folks in to work with us using the Databricks platform and other tools to say, hey, let's try your experiment. Let's fail fast, or let's succeed quicker. Right? So we offer that as well. And then building a community of practice. So we are looking for these enterprise platforms that can scale, looking for the data marketplace, and then looking for accelerators. If you look at our journey with Databricks, 2019 we started on Azure, and then we migrated over to AWS. So that was the choice then, is to move over to AWS platform and start our journey and drive some adoption and scale. And what I think is also very unique about Takeda, we have a plasma-derived therapy, so it's more of a B2C. So we get donors in the door very quickly. There's a very fast turnaround time and a very unique distribution model when you have patients donating blood. So we really needed to have real-time analytics. So we focused with our PDT group and achieved real-time analytics, and still continuing on that journey with them. But what it also requires is that we cannot have downtime. And even more so as we look at our journey as bringing in more unstructured data and looking at using more wearables, which we're going to move forward with, we need that real-time data, even so more so for manufacturing as well. So we started that journey, and then we decided to go to the cloud. So we had our E2 upgrade, right? So we focused on moving fully over to the cloud with the E2. And then along came the Unity catalog, right? And the Delta loads, right? So that was really key for us. And now we're experimenting, we're coming out with personas for agentic AI to make sure that we can actually improve productivity for our, what we call the data engineer. And I'll get into that a bit more as well. So we're looking at a digital data engineer, and we're looking at a digital data steward. And having this unified data platform truly helps us achieve that. If we look at some of the numbers, 1.8 million pipelines run a month. We serve up data to about over 300 data warehouses, trying to get that number down a little bit. Even more so, you talked about the journey. We're going to the whole concepts of data products in these 360 views. We are also very ambitious about bringing up several MDM environments and being able to certify data. We also created a community around generative AI. So we do have an enterprise AI steering committee that I chair and work with the various different stakeholders who are doing a lot of these Gen AI, because we have a commitment also to improve fluency. And you'll see on our Databricks platform, you know, the amount of users almost, I think we're climbing up to 3,000 users. We've achieved about, I'd say, 87% participation in training. So we are really trying to put the power of Databricks and all that can offer into the hands of our business users. So we got this idea about this community of practice and partnering with Databricks. Really, you know, we heard we have multiple business units, highly federated, and they were like, how do we get the most out of the capabilities we have, and how can our teams partner? So we really focused on creating a sense of belonging and community, rolling out the training. They meet every month. They want to share knowledge. So that nothing's better than learning from each other. And that's where we actually enable them to come to the table and share their different stories and how they were able to really accelerate their journey using Databricks. So we've had that since December of 2024. And now we're looking at really the Delta Live tables and Lakeflow. We did a pilot with that this past March, and now we're starting to roll out our first agentic use cases, and I'll go into that. So we had 10 personalized classes for Takeda across 3 time zones. And really, we had a lot of users, as we call, certified. So a lot of excitement, almost close to over 400 participate in this, and the number continues to grow. So a huge success, and thank you to the partnership with Databricks on that as well. We also created a site called Takeda.ai as our platform for data sharing about anything AI. Right, so this is where all AI use cases are registered. You can go in and look at those. We register our agents, and we're also registering our models. So it's very key when you get back to how do you have the explainability and the lineage as well. And this is really what we've been able to look at with Databricks. And that's going to be more important because we know that as the legislation continues to grow and requirements, that we are going to have to explain where the data comes from these models, and you're going to have to explain how the model works, and that gets even more complicated, right? It's much more sophisticated than our traditional AI and ML. We also created a value creation office. So the value creation office, we had to explain, we got investments to move some of these use cases forward. So we had to explain what we did better, what we did faster, what we did more efficient, and really came out with, you know, we have a few of these donor lifetime value models. So we wanted to predict donor churn within 94% accuracy. We also really is focused on computer vision AI techniques to match human labs for operator findings. So we have a list of close to 200 use cases that are being enabled through this platform. So being able to measure what matters and being able to show the value, and we do have to account for every use case back and work with our business partners about what value did it drive, because we want to focus on what are the high value use cases that can truly drive the organization forward, right? And we want to make sure they can scale multiple business units, multiple manufacturing plants. So really being able to focus and target what you're going to achieve is going to be key. When we want to start our agentic journey, we looked at the whole value chain. So really we wanted to look at data acquisition. So I'm also responsible. We created a new data acquisition group. I know any probably pharma or life sciences company, I can only imagine the amount we're spending on data, probably from the same vendors. So I'm really happy about the IQVIA announcement as well in Komodo. So we want to focus on data ingestion, and could we create an agent to help us really with the data acquisition side. We have the data transformation, and then we also have, the consumption. And that's another key part that I'll be looking forward to Databricks is how do you actually look at your consumption model? Because we do charge back. So we're looking at how do we charge back for usage to our organizations, because we are basically a provider to the company, so that's going to be really key. But more importantly, around operations and maintenance, so how do we still bring some intelligence into what data engineers do today? So we tackled that by looking at personas. So we have 10 use cases for a digital engineer, and we have about 8 use cases for a digital data steward. And I can tell you, my roots are in data stewardship and data quality, and no one likes the word data governance. No one wants to be a data steward. Right? So you really have to incent them and make it a lot easier, and you have to certainly have support from your executives down, which is why we took a domain approach to this. So we started looking at the data ingestion agent as one of our first pilots to automate and accelerate the biggest complaint I hear from a lot of business users, I need the data faster, right? So we're trying to accelerate the time to onboard data. Making sure that we can have real-time data as soon as possible. The next one is data transformation and processing agents. The third one I'm passionate about is data governance and data quality agents. A lot of times have to sit in a room and you have multiple BUs or functions argue over what's revenue, do we have common terms for that? As you start to build these 360 hubs out and you need a consistent gold data standard or what we call that universal data set, that takes a lot of work. What if you could truly apply AI on top of that to make recommendations? And then you're just having a human in the loop accepting those as part of data stewardship, right? And then we want AI-powered monitoring, right, and automation agents, and then most importantly, access, compliance, and security agents. So all of these components are work in progress for us right now. We have pilots going on these to be able to accelerate our journey. And really, I think, the power of what we've seen with unifying our data, being able to leverage all of the capabilities Databricks has to be able to move our vision forward for, I would say, the right data at the right time to the right people is really key. And I know there's a lot of excitement with the Unity catalog, I think was our biggest project this year, and the business certainly was knocking at my door frequently about that, and now the Delta loads is really key, and we're really excited about moving forward into the whole world of agents and agentic AI to really drive and improve productivity. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb. I think it's pretty clear healthcare is a team sport, as is data and AI. Thank you, Jerry and Barb, for also really focusing in on that. Our last presenter today for Healthcare and Life Sciences Industry Forum is none other than Asheesh Chhabra. He's the Chief Data Officer at Merck. Let's welcome him to the stage. Asheesh.
Hey, thanks, Adam. All right. Good evening, San Francisco. Hopefully you guys had a great day. I know I've had a really good day and a really busy day as well. Thank you to the presenters went before me. They stole a lot of my thunder because the problem statements are very similar, the journeys are very similar. And one thing that I liked about in each of the presentations is focus on the business, focus on the outcomes. It's just not about the technology. You have to get the right technology in place for sure, but those two first things are really, really important. I've been at Merck for 3 years. Again, it's Asheesh. We're known as Merck in the US market and MSD globally in other international markets. So thanks for the introduction again, Adam. And Adam, I loved how you started with either we're patients today or we'll become patients, right? Every one of us. So the work that we do, it really matters. We're here solving very complex problems in both human health and animal health at Merck. So this is the only slide I have today to share with you. So I'm going to take some questions. Make sure you each want to read them. No, just kidding. Legal, we got to show our forward-looking statements. So just want to make sure that that's out there. All right. So as I talk about the complex problem we're trying to solve inside of our industry and life sciences, especially at Merck and MSD, the opportunity is really high. It's a very rich environment. We look at our patients. We look at patients from the lens of both human and the animal. It's a complex ecosystem. And with a complex ecosystem, the landscape is complex as well, right? So if you look at what's happening in the industry and life sciences, there's several competition out there. Competition's good for us because it makes us innovate. It keeps us on the edge, doesn't get us relaxed. We need to keep moving forward from the ambition that we have for our patients on both sides of the equation of both human health and animal health. Biosimilar competition is increasing every day, right? You guys have probably seen the news about life sciences. You guys hear patent expiration happening, loss of exclusivity happening. That's natural for pharma, right, in the industry that we're in. So biosimilar competition is constantly happening around us. Patient access and pricing pressures. Every market you go to, international markets, local market in the United States, every administration that comes in, there's several pricing pressures for the right reasons. We want to make sure that patients are getting access to the drugs in the right way, and we also have the right competition and the right investments, right? So these are all very valid things that we as an industry deal with, right? And global expansions, right? How do we reach out to global markets come into the US markets, et cetera, right? You probably have heard the latest trends on tariffs, right? You can apply global expansion beyond the life sciences industry, right? So these are the landscape challenges that we deal with pretty much every day, and it makes us innovate. It makes us think differently, keeps us on our toes, makes us entrepreneurial. For what we're really focused on is providing life-changing medicines for our patients, right? Now, with the opportunity of digital and data, extremely, extremely high, right? We're really focused on how do we innovate across our entire supply chain, right? When we look at our entire business processes, all the way from starting in early discovery, all the way down to global support functions and everything in the middle. It's really important for us to think about that with a digital and data mindset in terms of how do we impact every value chain of the life sciences organization that we're in. We have a very big focus in R&D. Obviously, we're a science-led company powered by technology. We have a very big focus in R&D. You saw the earlier representation for Teddy, 70 million to 400 million parameters. It's not a large language model, but it is very large data sets. We're talking petabytes of data sets. So really innovating in that space with a digital mindset and innovating across all of our processes, right? A digital backbone. You heard modernization, you heard transformation. We call it a digital backbone. It is the most important thing for our entire organization, not just in IT, but in business. When we think about transformation, we don't think about it from a technology lens alone. We don't think about it from a data lens alone. It's also ways of working, business processes that need to get transformed. You heard from my prior speaker, you can't just throw technology at the problem, right? Technology will only get you one part of the way. You have to really think about the end game, what's the outcome you want to get to, and then work backwards, right? So really focused on transforming the business. I personally believe digital transformation, modernization, this is never going to go away. The amount of disruption that is happening in the industry is massive. The amount of disruption that's happening in technology is ridiculously crazy. Every 30 days, new companies are emerging innovating, and then every 30 days they're getting bought out. The landscape is changing dramatically. I've been in the pharma industry since 2008, and I've seen a lot of change happen. Initially, it was like, oh, technology is changing us every 6 months. Technology is changing every 3 months. It's changing every day, not even 30 days, right? So we really have to be clear about that modernization, transformation is never going to settle down. It's just going to keep getting amplified, especially in this age of Gen AI and agentic AI. One of the things that you'll notice is about 20, 30 years ago, cost of infrastructure sky high, cost of compute sky high. Onslaught of the 3 hyperscalers have really brought that down. They've lowered the barrier of entry. We're going to see more of that, right? Technology companies are really innovating in that space to bring the cost down, to go and look for other bigger problems to solve. So we'll see a lot of that. So don't walk away thinking transformation is a once and done thing. It's going to become part of your DNA if it's not already. And then supercharging everything with data. We at Merck or MSD, we talk about frictionless flow of data across the organization. The right data at the right time to the right people with the right controls. And that's a theme you also heard from my prior speakers as well. We are very concentrated in making sure our data is fair, which is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. We're making sure all of our critical data is within our marketplace. All of our assets are in marketplace, where people can go and find their data so we can apply the right governance controls around it. Very similar to the Takeda story, we implemented 20 data domains about 3 years ago just to figure out how are we going to organize all this massive data that we have across many data lakes. You're never going to get down to one data lake. You're never going to have a monolithic approach. You're going to need to find a balance. You're going to have business sponsorship. Business does not know what to sponsor if it's not very well categorized. So our approach to that problem was, let's take a look at our life sciences business processes. Let's understand those domains. Let's anchor that data to that domain. Every single data asset that we have in the company is anchored to a domain. There are some outliers, but we're working through figuring out where those outliers fit in. That's been a really magic sauce for us, is really bringing the business along and really driving frictionless flow of data. It's not just about building data APIs. It's not just building data marketplaces. It's transforming how you think about data. One of the key changes that we've made in partnership with several business owners within the organization, some of them are actually here in the presentation, so thank you for being here. It's about looking at data as a data product. Data is not a data asset alone. Data is not something that you buy. Data is not something that systems create. You have to treat it as a data product. You really have to understand the product life cycle. You have to understand who the stakeholders are of this data, who the customers are of this data, what's the value that data brings to the table. So really important to think about all these things that bring frictionless flow of data into the organization. Again, it's the right data at the right time to the right person with the right controls, because we're a regulated agency. Now, behind the scenes, there's a huge technology ecosystem that we have. One of them, obviously, is why I'm up here. So we want to make sure that we're looking at very modern, cloud-agnostic, highly scalable, highly flexible technologies that we can help the organization through. So you have to be really mindful about the decisions you're going to make. There's always, people on different sides of the fences. One fence says best of breed. One fence says best of ecosystem, right? There's no right or wrong answer. It's what your organization's about. It's what your culture's about. You want to see it go. So you have to kind of think through that. So that little box on the left, it's a massive 10-page slide that I can talk about for endless hours, but it's all around how do we supercharge our data and make data frictionlessly across the organization. Now, delivering data that matters. So you obviously heard the early research paper that was flashed up. So really focused on how do we transform every line of business, starting with early discovery, right? We are very heavily focused into R&D. Our focus is how do we take all this tech disruption that is happening around us and bring it into R&D and early discovery so we can be much faster in finding the next target, right? That's the biggest deal for us in our company, because as we find the next set of targets, the dominoes start falling, right? We can take that target, go through our R&D process, go through clinical trial, regulations, manufacturing, and all the way through. Important on where you want to focus on. The opportunity is very rich. It's a very rich environment. You have to figure out what your big use cases are, not what your 500, 600, thousands of use cases are. You will definitely die a 1,000 cuts, right? What are your tier one Uber use cases that you want to focus on and implement? And then MVP it, as you heard with some of my prior speakers. So our journey is focusing in making sure that we make our early discovery business area really supercharged. Other business areas are doing their thing, but there's a big focus in the R&D space for us. Modernizing anything around data analytics and AI capabilities, right? So our principles are cloud-based, flexible, modern technologies, and those technology partners that want to work with us, right? It comes down to people, comes down to relationships, right? Which company that you can hedge your bets with to make sure that they're going to come on the ride with you, right? So you have to think about many different facets, not just the technology play. For example, does the licensing model work for you or not, right? Do the financials work for you or not? Does the support system work for you or not? Does it fit into your ecosystem? Those are things that you all have to take into consideration when we think about how do we think about modern DNA capabilities. For us, inside our company, we're building every single DNA capability with an enterprise mindset, so that it's reusable across the entire enterprise, from early discovery all the way down to support functions and our animal health franchise. We want to build once, use many, and supercharge our organization, right? You heard from my prior presentation where things people are building, they weren't sharing information, not because they don't want to, they just don't know, right? So how do you build once, use many, is going to be the secret sauce for most of you here. And then anything and everything we're doing, we're underpinning it with an AI ambition. I love what Barbara said. AI can't do anything with data, right? I'm a big cake guy, chocolate cake, and my big thing is AI without data is nothing but a flourless beige cake. It's tasteless, right? Your magic really is your data. Data is your differentiator. The companies that will go far are companies that are focusing on what matters and focusing on their data and feeding that data to your AI ambition, to your AI strategy, to your AI architecture. So anything that we're doing is focused on how can we make our AI ambition come to life, right? Again, starting with that end game and then working backwards, right? So get your data ready for AI is a theme that you'll hear in any conferences that you go. So that's something that we've learned very, very quickly, and that's why my role is focused on that. And lastly, our purpose. This is our company's purpose. We use leading edge science to save and improve lives around the world, and that's what really drives us every day, the focus on our patients, both on the human and the animal health side. Anything and everything we do is focused on that. And that means partnering with technology providers to really leap us into that future. So thank you for having me. I hope you loved it. And back to Adam. Thank you. Yep.
All right, let's give one more round of applause to our presenters. Thank you, Jerry, Barb, Asheesh. Wonderful. We are officially at the end of our program. I do have one exciting announcement in just one moment. First of all, next year, we're going even bigger with Healthcare and Life Sciences Industry Forum. Let us know what you want to hear. We'd love to hear it. And we're excited to see you back next year at Data and AI Summit 2026. Now, I'd love to welcome you to our industry networking reception. So as you exit the doors, take a right, head over to where the Rivian truck is at. We've got some refreshments ready for you, and enjoy the rest of your evening and Data and AI Summit. Thank you again.